Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about Arnold. Arnold is a biographical documentary series that explores the life of Arnold Schwarzenegger. The series is presented by Arnold himself, in which he recalls his family upbringing in rural Austria before exploring the various careers he's been involved in over the decades. The series examines each of his major career accomplishments throughout his life. His time as a world-class bodybuilder, as a famous movie star, and as the governor of California are all observed in intimate detail, showing how the highs and lows of his professional and personal lives shaped him into the man he is today. It's been a while since I reviewed a documentary, mostly because I've been waiting to watch one that piqued my interest, and this was one of the best docs I've ever seen on Netflix. As a lifelong fan of Arnold, it's awesome to see not just an excellent account of his life story, but one that also has such a strong and motivational message behind it that will inspire anyone who watches it. This series is made much more meaningful with Arnold himself taking part in it. He walks the audience through as much of his life as can be told within 3 hours, recounting his memories in vivid detail that puts the audience in his shoes as he details his journey from Austria to America. While I was already familiar with his family life and career accomplishments from reading his biography Total Recall, it was still great to see Arnold tell his story in a new way. He has the perfect cadence to his voice and grizzled look with his age that almost makes him out like a wise man type of figure, and it's perfect for recounting such an extraordinary life as his. It's made clear that from the beginning, Arnold felt driven to pursue success the way he envisioned it. He was much different from most people in his small town who lived more modest lives by comparison, and it was great to see the series have Arnold explain how he saw things going for him, as it gives a better picture into his mindset. It was surprising to see how consistent his determination was throughout all of his career paths. Even though he has moments where he fails and feels bad for himself, he's always able to dust himself off and continue with his progress, and it's inspiring to watch unfold. Arnold's story and hunger for success is told across 3 episodes, the first revolving around bodybuilding. It shows the trials he had to endure in his youth pursuing a passion that nobody knew anything about in his town, and it's interesting to see how he overcomes this. Much of who Arnold is as a person today can be found in his bodybuilding days. The intensity, the hard work, and the discipline are all characteristic of who he is, and it's a blast to see him work his way to dominating the competition and not letting anything get in his way. The same can be said for his acting career, which is the one I found the most interesting simply because I love watching his movies. Seeing him having to pivot and readjust himself after so much success in the world of bodybuilding was an interesting change of pace, while also retaining the core tenets of discipline that he had followed before. It goes to show how anyone can accomplish anything they set their mind to, and I love seeing how persistent this theme was across the series. The fact that Arnold was told he was too big, or had too thick of an accent, or when he was cast would lead to him being stereotyped, didn't hold him back. He kept going until he got what he wanted, and it's hard not to admire him for this. The third and final chapter explores his political career as the governor of California, which I found myself learning the most from as I didn't know anything about his politics. Once again, Arnold didn't let his lack of political experience hold him back, as all he had to do was pivot, readjust his plan of action, and then go for what he wanted. It's important to note how humble Arnold is as he tells all of these amazing stories. He stresses how he could never get to where he was in his life without the help of others, whether it was Joe Weider for bodybuilding, James Cameron for acting, or Patricia Cleary for politics. He is always grateful and appreciative for every person who influenced him, and this makes Arnold even more likable as his story continues. But it's not just Arnold singing the praises of others for helping him. The documentary features a variety of guests from the different spheres he's been involved with over the years. It was neat to see how many different guests they had to add more context to Arnold's accomplishments, some of whom I didn't expect to appear. Seeing Frank Zane talk about his fitness rivalry turned friendship with Arnold, Sylvester Stallone detailing their box office competition, and Prime Minister David Cameron himself speaking on the impact Arnold had on politics was amazing. These are just a few snippets from the series, and almost all of them validate Arnold's presence as a force of nature in anything he's involved with. I like how the documentary used a variety of settings and scenery to show how much width Arnold's roots span. There's lots of great footage of him just chilling out at home, looking at photo albums while smoking cigars, and then there's times where he's driving around in military vehicles while also smoking cigars. Everything he does in this series just perfectly encapsulates who he is as this larger-than-life figure, yet Arnold always stays humble and constantly reminds himself of where he came from. The way the documentary integrates his personal life in between all the main narratives of the episodes might be the strongest aspect to it out of everything it has going for it. This is where the audience gets a deeper look into how Arnold truly is as a person as opposed to how he is in front of a camera. Arnold allows himself to be vulnerable and talk about the people closest to him, specifically his immediate family who have all since passed away, and his own family brought on by his marriage to Maria Shriver. I don't want to give away too much about this aspect of the documentary because it's a really important part to his story, but I appreciate Arnold being so frank and talking about his family life. It helped to deconstruct this immense persona about him and allowed me to appreciate him even more. On that note, I also enjoyed how the documentary didn't shy away from the darker moments and failures of Arnold's life. His losses in American bodybuilding competitions, failure to achieve meaningful work in film for over a decade, and the affair that broke up his marriage are explored in just enough detail to humanize Arnold as a person without completely disrupting the tone of the story. Arnold said something in the documentary that resonated with me profoundly when watching it. He mentions that regardless of whether he succeeds or fails at something, he always keeps moving forward and always stays hungry for the next big thing. He has such a powerful way of conveying his process that it transcends beyond the screen. There's a motivational tone that underscores every moment throughout the series and emphasizes that whatever goal one has in mind, it can be achieved with hard work and determination, and Arnold's massive catalog of success is a prime example of that fact. The episodic format of the series allows a clear and concise timeline of events for the audience to follow along with. Each chapter is neatly laid out from beginning to end, which allows the pacing to stay consistent and riveting without getting bogged down in too much exposition. And it never comes across as just being a series of talking heads. It does a great job at reenacting certain moments of Arnold's life, with silent acting involved and a lot of effort going to recreating the aesthetic of whatever era it's portraying, combined with the tons of archival footage to add further context to Arnold's story, and it's just filled to the brim with content to enjoy. Honestly, I can't think of much to complain about for this series. The only real nitpick I had was the relevance of certain guests it picked to be interviewed. There was one moment where they interviewed an ex-girlfriend of Arnold's from way back, and her story was nice, but then she's kinda dropped and never mentioned again. So I just thought, okay, why was that important? Also, and this isn't necessarily a complaint, but Arnold's life is simply too extraordinary to be contained within just 3 episodes. And don't get me wrong, the filmmakers make the absolute most of the time they do have, but it just goes to show how incredible Arnold's life has been. I mean, if you think about it, he's basically lived 3 lives. Arnold constantly emphasizes the importance of having a vision and pursuing it to the fullest, which has inspired me in my own career endeavors. He is living proof that anything can be achieved by anyone with hard work and patience, and it's just a joy to see Arnold demonstrate this. Overall, Arnold is a phenomenal documentary that explores the life of one of the most amazing human beings of our time and does so in a way that's creative and inspiring. If you like documentaries and are interested in watching something motivational, you absolutely have to check out the series. It is amazing. Arnold's stories and narrations, the inspirational messages, and the sheer variety of content present in it is enough to give anyone pause to reflect on their own life circumstances and perhaps give them the drive they need to pursue their passion. If there's anyone who embodies the American dream, Arnold Schwarzenegger is it. What did you think about this series? Did you love it as much as I did, or did you find some issues with it? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Arnold. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part where next time I review the Dutch comedy The Wonder Weeks. Bye bye!